2006, Fisher-Price recalled over 1.5 million Thomas the Tank trains because the paint that they had on them contained lead. This recall affected my family and changed my perspective of the future forever. When you become a parent, you only want the best for your child. And you started to think about educational choices. What am I going to feed them? Am I providing the right sense of belonging? And then you start thinking about all the choices ahead of you. Where are they going to go for childcare? What schools am I going to choose? What educational facilities? Oh my goodness, I need to start saving up for university. All these things start happening. Becoming a parent is a beautiful moment. It's also one of the most challenging moments. Then I started thinking about my experiences growing up and some of my fondest memories. And one of my fondest memories is going to the beach, being able to play all day in the sand, be able to swim in the ocean, and yes, feel the salt air. And one of my not-so-fond memories is in this class photo where I had the best mullet haircut you've ever seen. True story, this is not photoshopped, people. This is the only photograph in the 2-year period where I wasn't wearing a hat. It got me thinking about my own childhood experiences of when I went to school. And yes, my favorite color is still green. And that got me thinking about the schools that I went to, the teachers that I had, the spaces that really impacted me. And it got me thinking about my passion for dance and movement and how I was able to move freely to express what I needed. It got me thinking about not just the mechanical and the chemical aspects, but how every human need we need to consider when we're putting our spaces together. Do you feel like you belong? Are you safe where you are? Do you feel loved? Can you be creative? I know what I need to feel creative in a space. I know I need to be able to move, sit down, go from one space to the next. I know I'm not a 9-to-5 person. I need access to nature, whether I can see it out my window or a plant by my desk. Anyone can resonate with what I'm talking about here? I can't wait till the weekend to head to the forest. I need it now. So the first thing is about knowing what you need, because all of our needs are unique and different, and no two needs are the same. Now, it's not about the do's and don'ts, but it really comes down to your intention. What do you want to create in your space? What do you really need? Now, you've all heard the term think outside the box. I remember as a kid dancing, when my teacher would say to me, Bridgitte, use all the space on the dance floor. Stop being stuck in one space. Use all the edges. And that moment in my life changed my thinking. It got me thinking about all the spaces that I was in and how I truly feel confined. We don't like to stay in one spot. We need to move, we need to sit down, stand up, and really use the space in a complete and whole way. It got me thinking about spaces that are innovative, like take the head office here at Hootsuite. They're in their space, they have a fishing lodge, a cabin, they even have an outhouse. They have a ping pong table, a table tennis table. This space oozes intention. The intention to allow the individual to choose where they want to work and where they can be the most productive, where they want to connect with another or not. Now, we all can't work at Hootsuite. I know some of you are itching to work there. But what we certainly can do is we certainly can consider what we individually need to create the best environment for us to truly thrive. Now, you may ask yourself, how is a ping pong table inspiring? Well, at Hootsuite, the intention of the ping pong table is to create a collision where workers come together to have a conversation and innovate. When you look at this image, you see 3 different layers in this space. A community of connection at the back with the picnic tables, the disruption of the ping pong table in the middle where they can really move and engage in physical activity. And then you have the individual spaces at the front, where people can choose to work on their own, but still have the sense of being in community. But I know this is hard. Because typically we have a factory system of learning where children line up their classroom at the beginning of the day, typically based on age. They walk into their classroom and they sit row by row by row, and everything is in one perfect little spot, little box. Things are underneath, but how can they create and collaborate when they're not really have the permission to move? In North America, most of the schools were designed over 50 years ago when the sage on the stage methodology or approach was in fashion. But as technology innovates, curriculum changes, our environments are remaining stagnant. They're not keeping up with our innovation, and they're not allowing the students to truly thrive. At Harvard University, they spent a week considering the impact of their learning environments, and they now know that the environment can truly help the student truly own their own learning experience. They worked with Stephen Baker, a renowned architect, and one of the key takeaways that they had from spending their time with him was that when you truly have an intention of the space, and the space feels welcoming and it feels like home, we truly thrive as human beings. Take this space as another example here. Can you see rows by rows by rows? Or do you see different levels of learning where students can choose? They're even on their tummy, relaxing and really getting into their literature. Does it really matter whether they're sitting at a desk, or whether they're actually standing, or whether they're actually on the floor or moving around the room? What matters is that they're engaged and they're having a conversation. If we want to have change agents of the future, they're going to help move us forward, we need to give them choice of where they want to be. I was talking with Stefan Anderson. He's the principal of Conserve School in Wisconsin, and he was sharing with me how his teachers keep the intentions in their environment alive. I love this story. They get together and they present their classroom environments as if they're selling their homes to each other. So they're selling their, like, look at my classroom. It's got the 3 bedrooms and the, right? And they discuss what innovative things that they're doing in their environment, and they challenge each other. They're giving peer-to-peer feedback. And they do this on a quarterly basis to truly keep their intentions alive. Now, inspiration doesn't mean having the latest and greatest of things. It doesn't mean that you have to have the latest technology, the latest standing desk, or even the latest micro home. What it really comes down to is considering how it impacts you. Does it inspire you? What does it give to you? What does it give back? Steve Jobs knew this. He knew that it really did matter about what design felt, not necessarily what it looked like, but what was its intention. So when you're thinking of a space, whether you're at home, in a community center, in a library, or at work, or in a school where our children are learning, when you walk into that space, first question I want you to ask yourself is, am I inspired to be here? First thing. What is my intention of the space? Is my intention to allow the children to be able to move? Or is my intention to put something on the wall to help me remember the curriculum? Or is my intention really to allow them to have an open mind around inquiry? What truly is my intention? Imagine if we spent as much time preparing our learning environments, preparing our spaces where we work, in terms of how much time we spend in actually preparing our homes for sale. Do we really give enough attention to those spaces? Now, you've all heard the term, the environment as the third teacher, but the actual space itself is what's most important, not just the environment. How does the space feel? Does it have a purpose? And what's my intention? Thank you.